Black Janitor is mocked for her scars until a veteran is shocked to recognize the unit tattoo. You won't believe what happens next. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for more unbelievable real-life stories. Maria worked the night shift at the downtown office building, sweeping, mopping, and scrubbing floors long after the bustling city had fallen silent. She had always kept to herself, wearing her worn janitor uniform and hiding the scars that ran down her arms and neck, scars that had been stitched into her flesh during her time overseas, but which she never spoke about. Most of her coworkers whispered behind her back, mocking her appearance, laughing at the uneven texture of her skin and the faded marks that told stories of a past they would never understand. She moved quietly past their snickers, trying to make herself invisible, never expecting that one night a visitor would change everything. The office was nearly empty except for a few late working employees when a man in a faded army jacket entered the building. He looked tired and walked with a slight limp, as if each step reminded him of battles fought long ago. Maria was mopping near the elevators when she accidentally dropped her rag and bent to pick it up, revealing the tattoo on her forearm, a series of numbers and symbols that had once identified her unit in a war zone. The veteran froze mid-step, his eyes widened as recognition struck him like lightning. He had served in the same unit years ago, a unit thought to be lost in a firefight. He had mourned the faces of friends he would never see again, and yet here was a living proof, standing quietly in a janitor uniform before him. He called her name. At first she hesitated, wondering how he could possibly know her. Then he told her stories of missions shared and comrades. Fallen tears welled up in her eyes as he recounted the exact moment she had saved his life and others, and never boasted, never told anyone her bravery. She had been invisible to the world, but to him she was a hero. They spoke for hours about their experiences, the weight of war, the scars seen and unseen, and slowly word spread among her coworkers who had once mocked her. Suddenly, the whispers turned to awe, curiosity, and respect. They realized that the woman they had laughed at was someone who had faced unimaginable challenges and had carried them with quiet dignity. The veteran insisted that Maria meet his old comrades, many of whom had assumed she had been lost in the chaos. They came one by one, their eyes widening as they recognized her unit tattoo, and listened as he retold stories of her courage. Every name he spoke brought a ripple of memory and emotion. Maria watched as faces filled with disbelief and awe stared at the woman they had thought was just a quiet janitor. Each story he told painted her not as a victim but as a hero, someone who had faced fire and chaos and had emerged with her heart intact. They asked questions. She hesitated at first, unsure if she wanted to revisit the nights when fear had been constant, but slowly the words came, and with each story she shared, her voice grew stronger and steadier. She spoke of missions where hope was scarce but determination kept them moving. She spoke of friends lost and promises made in the mud and smoke, and through it all, the veteran and his comrades listened silently, their eyes glistening with tears, remembering the bond forged in the most impossible conditions. Her coworkers who had once mocked her gathered in corners, their mouths open in shock and shame. They realized they had underestimated her strength and courage, and the laughter that had once echoed at her expense turned into quiet admiration and whispered apologies. Maria felt a strange warmth she had never felt before, a sense of being seen truly and completely. She no longer had to hide the scars on her arms, the faded marks and rough textures that had invited ridicule, now shown as proof of resilience and bravery. The veteran placed his hand gently on her shoulder and said, "You saved us more than once. Without you, we would not have made it." And Maria felt the weight of his words settle in her chest like a bomb. They spent hours talking, sharing memories, laughing at small moments that had once seemed insignificant, and crying for the friends who had never come home. Each story woven together like threads in a tapestry, revealing the extraordinary life she had led hidden beneath the quiet exterior of a janitor uniform. Outside the office, the world carried on oblivious, but inside, a transformation was taking place. The people who had once ignored her now looked at her with reverence and curiosity. Her coworkers started helping her without being asked. They listened when she spoke and treated her with respect. The office that had once felt like a cage became a place of acknowledgement and subtle celebration. Maria kept working quietly, cleaning the floors, polishing the windows, and organizing supplies, but now she did so with a sense of pride and purpose. Every swipe of the mop, every organized drawer, every shining surface, a silent testament to the strength she carried. She began mentoring new employees quietly, sharing her lessons in patience, resilience, and dignity, showing that true courage often goes unnoticed but leaves an impact far beyond what anyone can see. The veteran and his comrades visited often, bringing stories from the past, letters from families of those who had survived because of Maria, and photographs that had been tucked away in dusty albums, each visit a reminder of the life she had led, and the people she had touched. Her scars no longer felt like marks of shame, they were medals of experience, symbols of a life lived fully and bravely. She learned that recognition does not always come immediately, but that integrity and courage eventually reveal themselves, even to those who had once doubted her. One afternoon, as the veteran prepared to leave, Maria watched him walk away, feeling a mixture of gratitude and sadness. she whispered to herself, "The scars I carry are my story, my proof of survival and courage." And as he disappeared around the corner, she smiled, knowing that the world had finally caught a glimpse of her truth. Life did not become easier overnight, but Maria felt lighter because she no longer carried the burden of invisibility. Her days were filled with quiet triumphs, small acts of kindness, and an inner strength that radiated outward, touching everyone around her. The story of the black janitor mocked for her scars spread slowly through the city, not as gossip, but as a legend of resilience, courage, and unexpected recognition, and people began to see that heroism is often hidden in plain sight, in the ordinary, in the quiet, in those who endure silently and carry more than anyone realizes. And Maria continued to work. She continued to live quietly with dignity, but every step, every movement, carried the pride of someone who had survived unimaginable trials, who had faced mockery and pain, and emerged, not broken, but honored. And as she looked at her reflection in the polished windows, she saw not the scars that once invited ridicule, but a map of bravery and the knowledge that she had finally been seen for who she truly was. Asterisk, as the lights in the office dimmed and the last echoes of conversation faded, Maria stood quietly, taking in the space that had once felt cold and judgmental, but now carried warmth and recognition. She glanced at her reflection in the polished windows and traced her scars with a gentle fingertip, each mark a silent story of courage, endurance, and survival. She thought of the veteran and his comrades, their stories, their faces etched into her memory, and a smile curved across her lips, because she knew that even in the darkest moments, someone, somewhere, had seen her, had recognized the bravery that had always been inside her. And she realized that life does not always announce heroes with fanfare. Sometimes it hides them behind uniforms, janitor, carts, and quiet smiles, until the right eyes, the right soul notices the truth. Maria slowly walked down the hallway, her footsteps steady and calm, no longer burdened by whispers or mockery, because she carried the knowledge that courage and resilience were her companions and would always be, even when unseen. She stopped at the doorway one last time and looked back at the office that had shaped her, silently, and realized that every task, every chore, every night she had endured had not been in vain. Every moment of invisibility had prepared her for recognition in its most unexpected form. She whispered a thank you to the universe, to the friends she had lost, to the lessons she had survived, and to the people who had finally seen her for who she truly was. And as she stepped into the night air, feeling the cool breeze brush against her face, she knew that the story of the black janitor mocked for her scars was no longer a tale of ridicule, but a testament to strength, honor, and the quiet power of being true to oneself. Her story would inspire others to look beyond appearances, to listen to the untold stories around them, and to honor those who endure without complaint. And as the city lights flickered around her, she felt hope and pride swell in her chest, because recognition sometimes comes from the most unexpected places, and courage always leaves its mark. And if you have been moved by Maria's journey, if her resilience, her quiet heroism, her scars and triumphs have touched you, do not forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to see the power of endurance. Subscribe to the channel for more stories that reveal the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary, and click the bell so you never miss a moment when truth and courage come alive on your screen. Remember, every scar tells a story, every quiet act of bravery matters, and sometimes the world only needs the right person to notice, to transform a life and inspire countless others.